for this webinar, Drive Traffic to Your Booth, brought to you by AACC Annual Meeting and Clinical Lab Expo Exhibitor University. My name is Teresa Ronk, and I am the marketing contact for the Exhibitor University. This year, as a value-added benefit to exhibitors, the AACC Annual Meeting and Clinical Lab Expo has partnered with Exhibitor Invites to offer you a great email marketing tool, which is a free customized email campaign. Nick McCallan from Exhibitor Invites is here with us today to tell us about this marketing tool. This presentation will be 20 minutes in length with 10 minutes of Q&A. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in, and Nick will answer them following his presentation. Nick?
Thanks, Teresa. Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. You should at this point be able to see my PowerPoint screen. This has my contact information on it. It'll also be up again at the end of the presentation, but as Teresa said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via phone or email or ask those questions as we move along here. So again, Exhibitor Invite is working with AACC on the 2014 annual meeting, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit about what Exhibitor Invite is and what it means to you as an exhibitor this year. So it's a free pre-show email marketing campaign that show management has paid for. So as an exhibitor, it's absolutely free for you to use, and it allows you to send personalized emails to all of your customers and prospects, really anyone that you think will be attending, so you can let them know that you're going to be at the show, what booth you're going to be in, what you're going to be promoting or displaying. And it's a professional HTML email. Now, you don't need to know HTML to use it, but because it does have HTML, you can do links back to your site, you can do highlights, you can really make it look really good, and it comes from your company. Now, this email that comes from your company, when you send it out, there's some value in it to your recipients, to those attendees. It's a free exhibits hall pass, which is up to a $30 value. So that means if you were to send that email to me, inviting to see you, at your booth in July, if I were to use this through Exhibitor Invites to register, I can get that free hall pass complement of your company. So some key points. As I've mentioned, there's no cost for you to use it, and there's no limit to the number of email addresses you can send to. I've seen 10, and I've seen well over 100,000. The great thing is, regardless of how many emails, the speed and the efficiency of the system is the same. And again, what you're doing is you're reaching out before the show to say, hey, Mr. Potential Attendee, hey, Mrs. Potential Attendee, we're going to be at AACC. Here's what we may find of interest to you. Please stop by our booth, and by the way, you can get into the hall for free. Now, what we've seen is we've seen exhibitors start to build up rapport and relationships prior to the show, even pre-scheduling appointments at the booth. So it really is a great marketing tool. And when you think about it, you as the exhibitor, the resources that you put into it, time and resources to be at the show, why not use something that show management is endorsing, is sponsoring to help you further drive booth traffic? What we've found at Exhibitor Invites, and we've been doing this since 2008, is the exhibitors that use Exhibitor Invites tend to have about, and on average, 20% more booth traffic than those that don't. So it really is a great mechanism for you to make the most out of the show. Let's go to the next slide. This is the short list of the information that you'll need. Now, each of you has what's known as an Exhibitor Invite Specialist, and he or she will be following up with you in the next couple days to answer any questions you may have and get you started with what we call a draft. And a draft is just that. It's a mock-up of what the email could look like before you make any changes to it. So let's look at this list. The first item is your company logo, and what you'll see when I'm on the software is it's very simple to browse your hard drive and upload that logo. If your logo happens to be on your internet page, it can be grabbed from there. The next item, your customized message, that is really the information that you want to convey about your company, about your presence at the show. The message, as I've mentioned before, supports HTML, and it's unlimited in length, so you can be very creative here as to what message you want to provide your target audience. The next item is a product photo. Well, optional, there's 3 different invites. And invite number 3 not only supports the logo, it supports the product photo. It's by far the most popular. That product photo, and you'll see in the example I give in just a little while, also allows for unlimited text. And that product photo can be a link that goes back to your site. Now, this is probably a good point to mention some of the things that we track for you through exhibitor invites. Obviously, we're going to track opens, any bounce back, any click-throughs. What I mean by that is in your email, maybe you've got a link back to your services or product page. We're also able to track any links back to the registration site. So if someone is registering and grabbing that exhibit hall pass, you'll be able to know who went to the registration page. That's probably most important of all, because let's say that you generate 10 registrations, you'll want to know about those prior to the show. Now, the next item, your list, we're going to spend a little bit of time on. Your list is your property. It is hidden and not shared with anyone, including show management. So much so that if I'm an exhibitor invite and I upload a list, once that list is uploaded, I won't see it. I'll see the date, timestamp, and what I've named it, but I don't see the list. What I'm going to show you later is we actually have a non-disclosure agreement and a security policy so that if you're at all concerned, you'll be able to see that and know that your list will remain your property. The last item there is your company contact. As you recall, a couple minutes ago I had mentioned a lot of exhibitors are pre-setting appointments, or they're getting interest in what they're offering prior to the show by sending out exhibitor invites ahead of time. So if I were to get one of your emails, I can simply reply if I like, but perhaps I want to set an appointment at your booth or have a question. If you put your company contact, typically a name, a title, a phone number, maybe that person has a different email address, then I can simply pick up the phone and talk to your company contact about the show or any questions I may have about your company. So let's talk a little bit about safety and security. We have what was known as a launch email, which you may recall went out just a couple weeks ago from show management. And within that launch email, there was the link that you see on the screen there, exhibitorinvites.com/AACC. That's the link to get started. Now, you'll see when I log in, and you may be able to see it at the bottom right of the screen now, there is a username and password that you need. Those were provided to you in that email. For some reason, if you don't see the email or don't recall that ID or password, please let me know, or when your exhibitor invite specialist calls, let them know and they'll get that for you. The second bullet point in regards to messages, because you control the login and you control the list that's uploaded, and you also decide which email with what custom content is going out and the dates and times that it's going out, nobody's going to get an invite or a message unless you want them to. So you really control that. No unauthorized emails or messages will go out. Now, the last 2 bullet points, multiple lists and changing your messaging, I'm going to create a scenario here, and it may be applicable to you, and it kind of shows the 2 points together. So let's say as an exhibitor, and I know there's over 600 of them there, so you want to differentiate yourself to generate as much foot traffic as possible. But let's say you've got several different lists. You've got sales prospects, which might be from your couple marketing people. And let's say you've also got possible distribution or wholesale partners. And then maybe you've got a third list of just past customers that may be going to the show. Well, those are 3 different audiences. And exhibitor invites is flexible enough so that you provide the right message to the right audience. So that last bullet point, they're changing your messaging per list. So the message for sales prospects may be different than the message for potential channel partners, which may be different than the message for past customers. So message A for audience A, message B for audience B, and so on, because again, we want you to target the right audience with the right message. So that's a very good example there of how that can be used. So I'm going to leave this screen up that you can see, and we're going to tab tab over to the exhibitor invite software, and you should be able to see it. What I'm going to do is just check the audience view, and it looks like everyone is able to see what I can see now. And what I want to do is highlight a couple items before we get started here. So you can see at the top all of the AACC artwork, and below that, let me grab the highlighter, the official show vendor logo. Here's going to be my username and password, but even before I get to that, let's look at a couple other items. You've got customer support throughout the process. You've got live chat during business hours. That's very popular for those exhibitors that have logged in and may have questions. No list will be rented, sold, or used for any other purpose, including show management. You recall I talked about the commitment to list security and the non-disclosure PDF. Let's take a look at those. So if I click here, and it might take just a moment to open, what you should be able to see is the PDF, which is ready to be signed, and it looks like it's taking maybe a moment to open over the GoToMeeting here. And there you can see it. So it's ready to complete in regards to list security. And if I close that, there's also the commitment to list security as well. That's also a PDF, so it might take a moment here. But feel free to look at that or read through that. I know that gives some exhibitors peace of mind in terms of list security. But again, we've been doing this since 2008. The other items that I want to show you very quickly before we log in, here's your exhibitor invite specialist. In this case, it's Greg. His name is actually a link to his email. And then here's his phone number with his hours. So let's log in. I'm going to log in with a test login, but again, this would have been the login information that was given to you in the launch email. And you should be able to see that I'm logged in, and I'll take the highlighter once again. I've got my contact, my company, my phone number, email address, and booth number. Now, you'll also notice on the right the live chat and the customer support is still there with you. But let's say I wanted to edit something here. If I click on Edit, I can change the phone number, or if the contact had changed, I could change that along with the email. However, all of this data, including company and booth, is given to us via the show. So most importantly, if you want to change that booth number, and I do understand those change, reach out to your exhibitor invite specialist. Let us know through customer support. Because this draft that we're creating, one of the key components is the booth number. It shows where you're to be found. So with that being said, you're not able to change it here, but if you need to change the booth number, obviously we can change that. So let's move on. And what I'm going to highlight to the right are really the 4 steps that are involved. Now, your exhibitor invite specialist can help you as much or as little as you like with the entire process. So this doesn't mean these have to go in this particular order, but upload your list, enter your custom information. That's the information that we talked about on bullet points on the PowerPoint screen. View and approve the invites and schedule them to go out. And again, your specialist, he or she will follow up, can create that draft, that mock-up of the invite for you. So you could focus on getting the list together and just looking at what they've sent and making any changes. So under list options, there's several. Copy and paste, that's what we're going to use today. Upload a text file. Where it says automatic for those first 2, it means it populates in real time. The next item in Excel takes about a day to update, and use a list on file if you like. And again, you only need the email address. You don't need anything else. And with copy and paste, what we're going to select, email addresses must be on their own line. So let's scroll down a little bit. Click here. We'll name this one. Let's just call it Sales Prospects. Now, before I go to Excel and grab the list, and I'll bring up Excel really quick here. It'll take a minute for you to see it. It's just a simple copy and paste, and we're going to leave it here for a second. I could easily type the emails here. Many of our exhibitors will have customer relationship management or CRM programs like Salesforce, like ACT, whatever it happens to be, Constant Contact. We've helped many exhibitors get the data, get the email addresses from that, and put them into exhibitor invites. So if you need help there, that's not a problem at all. The software will also do deduping. So for example, you've got the same name, a couple lines, we'll be able to make sure that that's cleaned up. And essentially I've copied, I don't know, 15 email addresses, 13 email addresses here. Even if it were thousands, it really works in the same fashion. So there's the names that I have from that spreadsheet. Hit submit list. And what you're able to see is I've uploaded 13 emails. And now if I go to upload your list and scroll down, you can see the list on file that I have. I can't click it or open it or really do anything. So 13 emails, and there's the date and time that I've uploaded it. Now, sometimes I get asked, well, what if I happen to have another list? What you can do with that other list is you can upload it just like this one. And then you'll be able to see I can select one list or many for that particular email. So it's a very straightforward process, yet it's flexible enough, and there's a security there, so I'm not going along and opening that list later. So now that my list is entered into the software, let's go to enter your custom information. I've got some already. Company name and logo. You recall on that initial home page, the company name couldn't be changed. That's the company name on file. If you've got a doing business as or the company at the booth is different, that's where I would enter this. I've got a sample logo here, but I can browse, for example, on the hard drive to find a logo. If it needs resized, whatever reason, just let us know. We can help you with that. Here's personalized text. And again, this can go really as much as you like or as far as you like. Now, what I've started with is just some simple HTML. You don't need to know it to do this. If you'd like to have something bold or in red or whatever, your specialist can help. But here's my first part, and here's the second part. Company contact, I've got a name, a title, a phone, etc. Remember what I've mentioned, someone can always reply and get a hold of you, but maybe someone wants to pick up the phone and they've got questions or they're interested in something that you're presenting in that invite. The product image, that was template 3. I would recommend it. Works just like the logo. I would browse to find it. Now, what we've done for some exhibitors is, let's say they've got several products or several images. What we can do for you is take those, resize them if necessary, combine those into one image. I've even seen exhibitors put in this part links to YouTube videos and such. But if I were to click on this image, you'll see I put the link right here where I want it to go to. And then again, additional text, unlimited, that would be going with the image. So let's continue from this point. Now where I'm at is view the invite. There's 2 ways to view them. In a browser, I would recommend Explorer or Firefox. We'll do that first, and then after, you can look at it in an email client, such as Outlook. So let me bring up test invite 3, and making sure, again, that everyone can see it. There it is. So what you've got is all the artwork for the show ready to go, so you're not messing with that. You know what's on here you can use. You've got everything here as far as you being the exhibitor, your logo, move down a little bit, kind of highlight, your image. So if I were to click on this image, it would take me, in this case, to exhibitor invite. In your case, perhaps one of the pages on your website. Personalized text, there's just a little here, but again, you can have this as long as you like. And then register today to receive your free exhibit hall pass up to a $30 value. So if I click here on register today, it will take me to the registration site, as you can see, and we're able to track that. So I'm going to go back, and then obviously to comply with, for lack of a better word, email compliance, you've got everything that you need, the relevant subject line, the name, the address, and then the unsubscribe. So let's close this one out. And if we look at test invite 1, very similar. We just don't happen to have the product image. And again, you can customize anything here. So let's close that out. And if you were to view the invites in your email client, it's very simple. I would simply just type, for example, my email address here, or whatever email addresses you want, and each of those people would then get invites to see how they look like as a draft, as a test in your email. Typically, about half the exhibitors will work directly with their exhibitor invite specialist. So they may send their list, their logo, perhaps some content, right through email. The specialist will then upload that, send the draft to the exhibitor. Once they're done with the list, they would delete the list. And once it's in here, as you know, you can't see it anyway. So if I like the way everything looks, I approve the test, and I'm ready to schedule. The scheduling is pretty straightforward. If there were multiple lists, I would hold down the control key and select those. But because I've got the one, I select it. And really, you want the invites to be 7 days apart. Now, because the show is in Chicago at the end of July, what I would recommend is sending the invites out several times. So we're sitting here, call it the end of April. Let's say for the first invite, and I happen to like Tuesdays through Thursdays best as far as open rates. Let's select Tuesday the 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern, and I'm going to pick invite 3. I like that one because invite 3 happens to have my product image. And then I'm going to go to mid-June, maybe send out a reminder. I'll take that one in the afternoon, and that'll be invite 2. I'll leave it. And then right before the show, maybe one last one, we'll call it the 16th. We'll select 10:30 a.m., and we haven't picked invite 1 yet, so let's pick invite 1. So if I preview the schedule, what I've got is April 29th, June 4th, and July 16th. So what I'm really doing is each email is a little different. The messaging can be different, and I'm starting to build awareness that I'm at the show. And for those who may not have registered yet, I'm able to catch them and offer that free Expo pass. So although it's a very simple process to use exhibitor invites, we're here to help out, and it's flexible enough to meet most needs. Now, one question that I do get, and it's very common, is I like product template number 3, but I do have a couple different lists. What we would do in that case is we would set up sub-accounts. Very simply, you just get more choices. So you can do template 3 for audience A, template 3 for audience B, and maybe one more for audience C. So you're using that same template 3 times, but it will look as different for each person or for each group that you're sending it out to. So that's really it. It's very straightforward. I'm going to go back to the home page here, and at this point, I'm going to go to the slideshow so you can see my contact information. I believe we've probably got some questions as we go. Teresa, if you want to go through those or add anything at this point.
Yeah, we've got some questions. If you'd like to just leave it on that slide, I'll go ahead and read those out for you. If a recipient hits reply to respond, where does the email go?
Sure. If the recipient hits reply to respond, that email goes to exhibitor invites and then is forwarded to that exhibitor.
Okay, great.
Now, there's also another way to reply. If they hit reply to the email, it goes that route. If they click on the email that's at the top from who's ever sending out, then it goes directly to that person.
Okay, great. Does list load function also accept first and last name in addition to email address? If yes, will I see that reflected in click-through or bounce list?
Sure. You don't need first or last name. All that's there is the email. So per email address, you will see click-throughs, bounce back, open, opt out, and most importantly, anyone who's going through the registration site.
Okay, great. Do I have to enter the email address list in a single operation, or can I copy and paste other lists under the first one to complete it? Thank you.
You've got some good questions. If I understand what they're asking is, can I do the email list, do some now, do some later, and add to it? Once you put the emails in, let's say through a copy and paste, or you've exported some from one of your programs, and you save it, that becomes that list. oftentimes what exhibitors will do is they'll just put together multiple lists. Or what I've often seen happen is they'll build a list, let's call it 200 people, and then they'll shoot their specialist a message saying, hey, we forgot these 2. Can you add those? So really the way that it's done is done a list at a time. But again, let's say that during that first list you put in 100, then you've got 20 more. It'll know if there's duplicates.
Great. Okay, our next question is, can we market our industry workshops on the invite? And I guess I can go ahead and answer that, and the answer to that question would be yes. We encourage you to go ahead and market such industry workshops or things that you have going on to attract to your booth and to your different functions that you have going on at the meetings.
Yeah, my recommendation would be put that into the customization text. If you need help, we can help. Maybe you put some links back to those registration pages if you've got something going on, webinars or whatever, and that would be a great one to use as a product image.
Okay, the next question, where do the auto reply out of office messages get sent?
I'm not sure if I follow that one. So auto reply out of office messages get sent. I'm assuming that who's ever sending the email, so let's say it's, Mike Jones at abccompany.com, and someone replies and it goes to him, it would be just like sending regular email. If someone clicks on the email address in the invite that you've set up, it'll work just like sending that person an email. I'm not sure if I clearly understand that one, Teresa.
Yeah, if you want to type in to clarify, that would be great, but I'm guessing if their out-of-office reply is on, maybe that's what they're...
Yeah, then what I've seen this. And what happens in that case is it would just reply back and we would let you know about that. I see what you're saying. Yeah, if someone's sending out, 1,000 emails, you might get a few out-of-office replies and you'll know that. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Good point. Thanks, Teresa.
Sure. The next question, can we change the location of the gray box that contains the invitation?
The location of the box can't be changed, but in some invites it's different. Typically, though, what we've found, and we've been doing this for a while, is that's the point where someone looks first, and the way that it's been designed, that grabs their attention. And that's definitely good because that's your contact information.
Great. Okay. If receivers choose to opt out, what are they opting out of?
Sure. That's a good question. If receivers choose to opt out, they're opting out of getting further emails through exhibitor invites. And you'll know that. There's also, this mentions a good point, we have what's called a campaign report. You would just request it, and typically you'll want this a couple days after the emails go out. The campaign report in a spreadsheet breaks all of this out within numbers and email addresses. So again, things like click-through, open, and opt-out. So they're opting out of getting further emails. So let's say that you've got that particular person in, like I did, my example, something goes out in April, May, and July, or whatever we had set up. If in May they opt out, they won't get the June and July one.
Great. Is there any way that we can get the contact information for those that are exhibiting at the conference so we can invite them to our booth? Currently, and I'll go ahead and take that one. Currently what we have is we have a pre-show reg mailing list. That's what we currently have that you can go ahead and that's for purchase, and we do have a link on our website for that form, but that is the way that we have that you can invite people that are currently coming to the booth that you can currently coming to the show that you can invite them to. How many lists can you save, and how many emails can you send out to each list?
It's unlimited. On the top end, I've seen more than 100,000 in a list. And realistically, because I actually helped them load that one, it worked pretty much the same. There's a few seconds of pause, but there's no limit.
Okay, great. The next question, will the AACC be providing a list for purchase? We actually, as I just said, we have a mailing list for purchase, but we do not have an email list for purchase. Next question, when can we review the NDA? We would like to see it in advance as we are concerned about security.
Sure, good question. The NDA is actually on that page now. So if you were to go to the link exhibitorinvites.com/AACC, that NDA is on the page right there. And please feel free to reach out to me. There's also contact information on the NDA. Take a look at it. Like I said, we've been doing this since 2008 with about 75 shows a year, literally tens of thousands of exhibitors. And I understand that concern. My recommendation would be in that case, rather than perhaps sending the list to your specialist, what I would do is I would upload the list myself. That way you're the only one that sees it. And we bring up another point, if I could, Teresa, just mention something that will take a moment.
Sure, go ahead.
We have something called a web invite. The web invite is very complementary to the email invite. And the way that it works, and obviously there's not a cost to it as well, it's just something else to help you market. As you look on the PowerPoint there in the login page, the link that I just mentioned, we can also create for exhibitors a web invite. It's basically a custom link for the show for their company. And let's say that you've done an email list of 200 people. Well, the link, when you click it, acts in very much the same way as the email. Okay? It will bring up the same information. That web invite will also offer the exhibit hall discount, the free exhibit hall pass. But the web invite, we've seen exhibitors put in their email signature. Please join us at AACC in Chicago in July. Click here for your free exhibit hall pass. Or we've seen them put it on their web page or their social media pages. So that web invite is actually a very good tool, and it's complementary to the email campaign. And we'll see a lot of exhibitors use it that way, and then they're really controlling who else might get that offer, who else they can invite, but they may not know through an email address.
Okay. All right. Well, this is, as promised, we get you out in 30 minutes. So we're 3 minutes over, but I want to thank you, Nick, and thank all of you for joining us. Our next webinar is about navigating the Exhibitor Resource Center on May 6th from 11 a.m. to 11:45. So please make plans to join us for that webinar. And as always, we are here to help, so don't hesitate to contact any of us with any questions. Goodbye, and have a great day.